Hi, my name is Jennifer. Welcome to the Zener Mobile Yoga YouTube channel. I've had a pretty interesting request for a class that I think is pretty pertinent and could be useful to other yogis and yoginis out there. The request was to get rid of any leftovers, if you will, in the body from past trauma or past emotion. And it does show up when we have leftovers as far as pain in the joints or tension. And that's because our bodies do, in fact, keep a physical memory of past experiences. Even if the memory in your mind fades, any negative emotion that we don't get through can be stored in the body. Think of it like this. You're in a scary situation. Your body, your nervous system goes into the fight or flight mode, which causes a reaction of heart racing, muscles getting tense. Maybe you even start shaking. And once that scary moment passes, or if it's stress, we're in that constant state of fight or flight. If the moment passes, we don't necessarily release those tensions from our body and the emotion that is correlated with the experience. So we're going to do a sequence or a flow that feels good, works on releasing old trauma from the tissues, and leaves your body feeling as serene and good as your mind can be. Grab a belt, a strap, and a blanket, and meet me on the mat. So as I said before, our pelvis is actually considered the junk drawer of emotions in the yoga world because it is the biggest bone in our body. So we're going to be doing a lot of hip openers, a lot of heart openers to help release and let go. And you are going to probably want to have a block and a strap nearby or something that looks like these two things. And to get started, we're just going to do a few breaths. So inhale, reach the arms up. Chest is nice and open. Interlace the fingers. As you exhale, bring the hands in front of the heart. You can do this with your eyes open or closed. Inhale, reach up. Interlace the fingers. Exhale. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Open up the lungs. Exhale, hands in front of the heart, make that connection. And then we're going to release the hands, grab the elbows behind our back, and do a couple of neck stretches. So keep the chest lifted and the shoulders away from the ears. Look off to the right shoulder. Bring the chin to the chest and gently roll the neck across the chest until you're looking over the left shoulder. Inhale as you roll. Exhale as you look up. We're going to do this one or two more times. Feel free to stop anywhere where your neck needs extra attention. And last time, wherever you are, finish up the roll. And then go ahead and bring the head back to center. Release the arms. Take the left arm reaching up over the ear, so bicep to ear, leaning to the right. Exhale, come back to center. Left hand to the ground, right bicep to the ear. Lean to the left. Good, come back to center. So we're going to come into Dandasana or staff pose. So legs are going to be straight. Flex the feet so the feet are active. Pull the skin away from the sitting bones so you can get nice and grounded into your mat. Your heels are going to be like it's ripping the mat apart, like you're spreading the mat apart. The fingertips are going to rest on the mat. So your legs are very, very active here. And then we're going to inhale and lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, walk the fingertips as you hinge forward. And this is a spot where you can use the strap, only if you need it. You can use the strap to help you hinge forward here. You might not go far, and that's okay. Take a couple of breaths. Remember, you're spreading the mat apart with your legs and your heels, keeping those hips internally rotated. Take one more breath. Exhale, hinge forward. And then slowly begin to come up. We're going to point the toes and come onto our backs here. So scoot forward just a little bit so you can stay on your mat. Point the toes forward, engage the lower abdominals, interlace the fingers, point the index fingers. The arms are going to stay nice and straight here. And we're going to bring the spine to the mat inch by inch. So very controlled here. Bring the arms up overhead. Good. Reach and begin to circle the ankles and the wrists. And then go ahead and bring the arms down. We're going to take this right knee, bend it so the foot is flat on the mat, and then open up that knee. Kick your block out of the way. So let the knee hang open. The left hip is going to be glued to the mat, and we're just opening up the hips here. Arms are going to go out to the sides of the body. Take the left arm and begin to reach forward, pulling from the shoulder socket. So you're stretching that arm as far out as you can, and then let it hang over the front of the body. You'll use the right hand just to apply a little bit of pressure. And just feel that stretch coming from the upper arm or the shoulder socket, where the humeri meets the shoulder socket, or the upper arm bone meets the shoulder socket. Take a couple of breaths here. One more. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Slowly open the arms, and we're just going to switch legs. So bring the knee up, straighten that leg, bend the left leg, and then open up the knee. Readjust to make sure that you can feel that the hips are opening. And then begin to reach with that right hand, lengthening the arm, let it hang over the front of the body, and then take the left hand, applying a little bit of pressure. Not much is needed. Gravity is helping you out here. And let's take 3 good breaths. In and out through the belly. Relaxing the muscles in the face. Softening the shoulders. And next exhalation, go ahead and release. So bringing the arms out, bend this knee, and what we're going to do next is hug the left knee. So bring it up to the chest. So this will give you the feeling of what I am talking about when I say ground the femurs. It kind of feels like when you were just ripping the mat apart with your legs, that's the same feeling. So bring the left knee up to the chest, lift the right leg just a couple inches off the mat, and then turn the toes in. So this is where the internal rotation happens. And then lift a little bit higher. Use those muscles on the outside of the right leg to keep the leg up. If you're doing it the right way, it should feel difficult. Breathe through it. One more breath. Keep both feet flexed. Next exhalation, go ahead and release that right leg down to the mat, and we'll go ahead and switch. So straighten the left leg, bring the right knee up to the chest. I'm not as flexible on this leg, so my knee won't go up that high. Your knee might go all the way to the chest. You can bypass the ribs. You don't have to go straight up the center line. Lengthen this left leg from the hip socket. Make it nice and long. Creep the foot forward, or making it long down towards the mat. And then go ahead and lift that left leg. Good. So you have no choice but to engage the muscles here, and that's the point. And then turn in the toes, internally rotating that left femur in the hip socket, or the upper leg bone in the hip socket. Good. Lift it just a little bit higher. If you lift it too high, then it gets easy. You want to have that in-between point. So your lower abdominals are going to be engaged. If your leg is shaking, that's just you getting liberated. The leg is waking up, or waking up all those old emotions to get rid of them. Take a couple more breaths. Use the muscles on the outside of that left leg. And on the next exhalation, go ahead and release. Good job. We're going to bring both knees up to the chest now and just do a little bit of hip circles. So draw big circles on the ceiling with your knees, going in a clockwise direction maybe. And then whatever your direction you're going, just do the opposite. Be sure you're not crunching your shoulders up to your ears. Keep them nice and relaxed. And then we're going to go ahead and drop our knees to the right, coming up onto hands and knees. And we'll go ahead and get in the position to start our cat pose or Betalasana. So spread the fingers, knees are hip width apart, uncurl the toes, inhale, drop the belly. Lift the chin, lift the tail, shoulders away from the ears. As you exhale, round the spine, separating the shoulder blades, creating space in the back of the body. Inhale, drop. We're doing this with the pace of your breath. So we're going to do it a few rounds. And you might go a little bit faster or slower than me, and that's okay. Just go back and forth and do what feels good here. Creating space in the back of the body, opening the heart, warming up the spine. We'll do 2 more rounds. Inhale, drop. Feel the spine fall to the front of the body, softening the muscles in the lower back. And as you exhale, let the head be the last thing to drop, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, pressing the hands into the mat. Good. And then come back to a neutral position. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and straighten the right leg. We're not going to lift it in the air. We're just going to bring the toes to the mat, stretching the calf muscles out. One at a time. Bring the left arm out in front of you. So the bicep is up to the ear, the arm is nice and straight. Take a couple of breaths here, looking down straight at your mat to help you with that balance if you need it. Good. And on the next exhalation, we're going to grab that foot, that right foot. So take the left hand and begin to lift the right leg behind you. You might grab for air at first. That's okay. That's normal. It's just back body awareness. Grab that foot. It'll get easier over time. Take a couple of breaths. On your next exhalation, we're going to go ahead and just release. So go ahead and release, bringing the hand and the knee back down to the mat. We'll do the other side. Really important here to make sure that your wrists are lined up with the front of the mat. And don't let your shoulder go over the wrists. We don't want to sacrifice our joints here. So shoulders should be directly over the wrists. Go ahead and bring that right arm out in front of you. You can shift your weight back, so push that left heel back, stretching the calf muscle and reaching forward with the fingertips on the right hand. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, go ahead and reach for that back foot. Taking a couple of breaths here. Keep your gaze down at the mat. Bring your focus inward. Take one more breath. You can do it. And on your next exhalation, go ahead and release. Hand and knee back down to the mat. Good. We're going to go ahead and get this party started. Bring the legs straight behind you, coming into plank. We're going to take a couple of breaths here, navel to the spine, and then we're going to come into downward facing dog. So lift the hip sockets up to the ceiling. Hips up and back. Thigh bones up and back, pedal your feet out. It's just like you're walking. Just kind of get used to being in your down dog here. It's the first one of our sequence today. So just kind of come into your own. And then we're going to slow down the walk. And we're going to open up the front of the body here by doing a pose that is called falling star. Some people might refer to it as that. We're going to take the right foot and cross it over the left. And we're just going to slide that foot off the left side of our mat. Pressing the right hand into the mat, we're going to begin to shift our weight forward so we can lift the left arm up off of the mat and open up. Press the hips forward. Just one breath here would be good. If you could take two, that'd be great. You can come into child's pose at any time, remember. Exhale, bring the left hand down. Good job. Bring the right foot back. We're going to drop to our knees, edges of the mat, and bring our butt to the heels and come into child's pose. Third eye to the mat. And surrender for just a moment. And remember, when you're in these poses of surrender or rest, it's an opportunity to whatever's coming up, whatever just pops into your head throughout this practice today, whatever your body needs to release, just go ahead and leave it here on the mat in these times of surrender. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and press the palms. Come back up to hands and knees. And we're going to do that all over again. So bring the legs back, coming into plank. Reach out through the crown of the head. Heels are pulling back. Bring your hips up and back, coming into down dog. Just take a moment here. If you feel you need to move, go ahead and move. If you want to be still, be still. Whatever your body's asking for you today. And then after a moment, another breath, we're going to go ahead and cross that left leg over the right. So the left leg is coming off the right side of the mat. And then press the left palm into the mat. You're going to shift that weight forward just a little bit. Open up that right hand. Good. Press the hips forward. Engage the abdominals. One more breath. Exhale, bring the right hand back down. Nice job. Bring the feet back. Drop the knees to the mat. Butt to heels, coming into child's pose. And bring the forehead to your mat or a block. If your forehead doesn't reach the mat. And rest. Notice how when you breathe in and out, you can feel the breath traveling up and down the spine, evenly in the back of the body. And just begin to notice that. Giving you another opportunity of surrender here. And let's go ahead and take one more breath here. And before we get back, and slowly bring yourself up to hands and knees. And get ready for a little flow coming into plank. So legs back. Take a breath here. Exhale, chaturanga down. Hands to the lower ribs. Inhale, come up. Exhale, forehead down. Curl your toes under, hands at the lower ribs. Bring yourself into upward facing dog. So legs, pelvis, everything is off the mat. Exhale, bring the hips up into downward facing dog. Good. Shift forward, coming into plank. Chaturanga down. Hands to lower ribs. Inhale, coming up into cobra. Activate those toes, pressing into the floor. Exhale, come down. Curl the toes under. Lift yourself into upward facing dog. As you exhale, hips back, downward facing dog. Good. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward. Nice and slow. We're going to come into Tadasana here. Good. Go ahead and inhale. Come halfway up. Nice straight back. Exhale, fold forward. Getting that stomach to the thighs. Bend the knees if you need to, that's fine. Press all four corners of the feet into the mat. Inhale, swoop the arms up. We're gonna come back to those interlacing fingers in front of the heart. Exhale. Bring the hands down. Inhale, swoop the arms up. Interlace the fingers. Exhale in front of the heart. One more time. Inhale, up. Exhale, connect with the heart. Good. Go ahead and bring the hands down, coming into Tadasana just for a moment. And go ahead and bring the left leg back. Take a nice big hop back. We want our stance to be pretty wide here. We're going to come first into our warrior one. Make sure that your feet are about hip width apart. And this back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Hips are forward, knee is bent, but not over the ankle. Inhale, bring the arms up, coming into warrior one. Palms can be facing behind you to get those arms nice and straight, to have the shoulders grounded. Good. Press the inner edge of that back foot. Engage the glutes. Take one more breath here. Inhale, reach up. As you straighten the leg and grab the elbows behind you, you're going to exhale and hinge forward, coming into Parshvatonasana. Some of you might be able to come down. I can't do this without rounding my back. Maybe you can. But if you do round the back, just back up the pose a little bit. We want the spine to be nice and long. Take one more breath here. Good. Even out the armpits towards the mat. Next exhalation, bend the knee. Inhale, swoop the arms up, back to warrior one. Exhale, open to warrior two. So hips are now off the left side of the mat. Check your arms, gaze off that front finger. Fix the knee, open the knee back up. And take another breath here. Next exhalation, windmill that back arm forward. We're going to reach forward and come into warrior three here. So begin to shift your weight forward, scooting that back leg up. Feel free to use a wall or anything you need, and begin to lift the back leg. Find your focus point. Your leg can come up this high, and you are in warrior three, so you don't have to come all the way down. Back leg is internally rotated. Take one more breath. Exhale, come back to Tadasana. Good, let's do the other side. Right leg back. We're gonna start in our warrior one. Good, bring the arms up, hips forward. Breathe into that lower back, create space. We don't want compression in the lower spine. Reach the upper torso up and away from the pelvis. Good. Nice straight arms. Grounding those shoulders. Inhale, reach up. As you straighten that front leg, exhale, hinge forward. Grab those elbows behind your back. Hinge forward. Yep, you're waking up that leg now. I can feel it for sure. Shoulders away from the ears. Take another breath here. Exhale, bend the knee. Swoop the arms back up to warrior one. Exhale, come into warrior two. Good. Nice job. Fix this front knee. Make sure it's not collapsed. Shoulder blades are drawn together and down towards the tailbone. Good. Next exhalation here, we're going to windmill that right arm forward. Come into our warrior three, Virabhadrasana 3. So begin to shift your weight forward, scooting that back leg. Remember the internal rotation of the back leg, keeping the pelvis even with the floor. Good. Take another breath. Doesn't matter how high you go here. Lengthen through the heel, the right heel, and out through the fingertips. Exhale, come back to Tadasana. Good. Let's go ahead and come into a wide leg forward bend here. And you can bring your block for support. Just have it handy just in case you may need it. I'll show you where you can use it. We're going to widen those legs, Make sure the heels are even in the back. Toes are pointed forward. Good. And then we are going to internally rotate those upper leg bones again, so that'll separate the sitting bones. Engage the quads, so the muscles are very active in this pose. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. As you exhale, hinge forward on the hip creases. Keep the legs straight. Here's where you could use your block if you need to. We don't want to round the back. We want to keep those shoulder blades drawn together and down, shoulders away from the ears, neck is nice and long. Inhale, lengthen again. Reactivate the legs if they've gone soft. And as you exhale, see if you have created space in order to come forward just a little bit more. Creating space in the hips will allow you to hinge forward, but you need to activate the legs. Good, take one more breath here. Press the outer ankle to the inner ankle. Do not let the ankles collapse. And keep the hands to the floor or the block as you pivot the heels in. I'm going to do some more hip opening here, coming into our horse with goddess arms. So press all four corners of the feet into the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, open, bending like goalpost arms. So we have our goddess arms here. Spread the fingers. This is a very powerful pose. You can do it. Keep the knees open. We don't want those knees to go over the ankles, so just kind of double check that. Do a knee check. Keep the chest lifted. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach up. Exhale, come back down. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, see how far down you can go. You can do it. Your legs are awake now for sure. And go ahead and stand back up. Bring the hands together in front of the heart. You can dance the feet back together. Good, shake the legs off just a little bit and then come to the front of your mat. Inhale, swoop the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Press the palms, bring the legs back, coming into plank. From here, we're going to drop the knees and separate the knees to the edges of the mat. And we're gonna come into frog pose here. So it's gonna look different for everyone. We wanna open the hips and come down to the mat. The feet are gonna open up so it looks like frog legs. Exactly what it sounds like. Rest on the hands. And we're just gonna spend a few minutes here breathing. Resting, surrendering, letting go of anything that we find or have realized, letting go of anything that is unuseful for us. Drop the pubic bone towards the mat, allowing it to get heavy. And just think if there's something that you're holding on to that you're aware of that's no longer serving you or that's no longer useful to you, that you need to let go of in order to make room for the new. And just actively do that here in this pose, as if it's melting out of the body and into the floor, away from you. We'll take one more breath here. And then go ahead and begin to sit up by pressing the hands. We're going to come into child's pose. So bring the feet together. Sit on the heels. Walk the hands forward, forehead to the mat. We're going to stay here for just a breath before we walk the hands to the left and the right. So go ahead and lift the torso, walk the hands off to the right as far as you can until you feel that stretch in the left side of the body, and then soften towards the mat. Carry your breath, expanding the left side of the body, creating space. And then go ahead and lift, coming to the left side, walking the hands to the left. As far as you can, soften towards the floor. Carry the breath to the right side of the body, expanding the right ribs. And the more that we get in touch with our body and the more body awareness we have, we do realize that we can carry our breath to these specific parts of the body. Go ahead on your next exhalation, lifts, come back to center. One more time. Reach, straightening the spine out. Sitting bones are heavy on the heels. And then press the hands. Walk the hands towards the body, sitting yourself up. Bring the knees back together, coming into thunderbolts. And we'll just do one more series of breath here before we come into our Shavasana. So inhale, swoop the arms up. Interlace the fingers, exhale. 2 more times. Inhale, up. Exhale. Last time, breathe in. Make it a good one. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Good. Come to your back. So go ahead and lie down. Bring the knees up to the chest one more time. Giving a little rock back and forth, massaging that lower spine. And then drop the feet. Straighten the legs. Bring the arms up overhead. A nice long stretch. You can wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can squeeze the muscles in the face. And then bring the arms down, separate the ankles, and as you exhale, let everything go. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. We're going to do this one more time, and as you breathe in, gather up any leftover garbage floating around in the body, stress, emotion, whatever it is. And as you exhale, feel it leaving through the fingers and the toes. And if your mind begins to wander, know that you can always come back to the mantra of the breath. pose. Taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, slowly bend the knees and roll onto your right side. Coming into the fetal position, because this is the part where you are born again, leaving any of that old garbage in the grave of Shavasana. Use your hand to push yourself up into a seated position. Bringing your hands together at your heart center. Thank you for letting me practice with you today. Namaste.